Hey Edges, it's Maz from MazCAD here again. On today's show, I'm going to be modelling a Victorian-style timber pedestal, something you could build quite easily yourself. It could make a nice gift for a member of your family, or perhaps you could even sell it. I got the idea for the design and cutting this from a woodwork magazine. These are great resources for the 3D CAD learner, as they have plans, instructions, and their own 3D drawings. As always, you can follow these instructions precisely and then make modifications to the design afterwards. But the main idea of these videos is to show you how the design might be accomplished, the different techniques you can employ, and the variations in those techniques. So without further ado, on with the show. We're going to start by creating a part which will become our first piece of molding. So I'm in the ordered environment. I'm using the line command to start my sketch. I'm not adding any dimensions at this stage. I'm just trying to get a general shape. As soon as I have a dimension that I need to capture, like the overall height, I'll enter it. My maximum material thickness, 18 millimeters. Now moving on to use the curve command, which will give me my fancy surface. And I can tweak that shape using the control points. Now you'll see that there's a sharp corner there, which I can smooth out using the tangent relationship. And I'll pop in an angle dimension to control that shape. A little bit more tweaking. I can see I'm going to need some more dimensioning. And an additional relationship to keep those points vertically aligned. Be careful when you're placing dimensions not to click on the key points. A little more tweaking of the shape. I need to keep that curve within the extent of the material. A couple more dimensions. And we're done. I want to see what it looks like in 3D, so I'm going to use the extrude command. And that looks pretty good. Save it and give it a proper file name. Done. Okay, let's start a new part. Our next piece of molding. I'm going to start with the same method using a sketch. Instead of using a curve, I'm going to use arcs. And you can start the arc command by pressing the A key on the keyboard. Now I can add some dimensions. I can also dimension the arcs. And the fillet command. And I'm going to use a construction line to help me form a tangent between the arc and a straight line. Let's take that sketch and extrude it. Check that we're happy with it, how it looks in 3D. And give that one a name. I'm going to be starting a few parts, so I'm going to add a shortcut to the quick access menu to help me speed things up a little bit. So now I've got a button on my quick access which allows me to start a new part quite quickly. So notice I'm still in the ordered environment. We'll talk about synchronous at another time. I'm going to draw a rectangle which will be my new timber material outline. And I'll extrude that specific length as per my cutting list. We'll discuss, or we'll cover, designing in the context of an assembly in a future video. But for this one, we'll just work off a previous design. Another new part. This time, instead of working with a sketch and then extruding it, I'll go straight to the extrude command. Then define the outline of the extrusion and the extent. Notice how in the Pathfinder we only have one entry called a protrusion, not a sketch and a protrusion. Another little demonstration of that. This time I'm going to work with it a little bit differently. I'm just going to save that part with another name and then edit the dimensions. I'm using the variable table to edit the dimensions. Only the width needed changing. I'll just pop a PMI dimension, which is purely a dimension purely for indication purposes. indication of size. Save it again with the new name. I'm going to add the command save as to my quick access menu and remove the save copy as commands. I'm also going to add the variables command to the quick access menu, which will allow me to quickly update any new parts. Solid Edge has a radial menu as well. We'll cover that in another lecture. So take an existing part, save it with a new name, edit the variables, save again. Save as, new name, and new size. Okay, so that's all the parts done. Now we'll make an assembly of those parts. So use the new assembly command. And I'll change the background, make it a bit easier to see. And I'll go to the parts library and hit the home button, which takes me to the folder where all those parts are. I'll start with the internal box. So the first part that gets brought in is automatically grounded, and I'm going to remove that ground relationship and apply my own relationships. So the first relationship makes it vertical. used a planar for that one. And then I want to align the top of the material with my base plane, and then align it sideways. Now it's fully constrained. I'm going to take the other one of the front or back pieces and apply mate relationship. I need to rotate that one, so I'm going to use one of the sides of that material. And then align it to the top. Now I've applied a mate when I wanted to apply a planar, so I'm going to delete one of my relationships. First of all, try and flip it, and that doesn't work. So I'm going to suppress and then delete. This is the new Assembly Relationships Manager that you'll find in ST9. I'm going to do it the old way. So that one's deleted now. Now I've got proper alignment. Notice I'm using the quick pick command to choose a face that's on the reverse of my material. You notice I've made another mistake with my relationship, so I'm going to delete that one. And apply another planar using quick pick. Saves me having to rotate the model. This time I'm going to try a little trick where I use the connect relationship to help me position a part before applying the mate or planar relationships. There's my box finished. I'm going to delete that connect relationship, then test to see what movement I've got left by using the drag component command. Now we need to save the assembly. give it a name. And start bringing some more parts. Notice then that I dragged a copy of the part from the Pathfinder. I didn't have to go back to the parts library. To save a little bit of time, I'm going to use the mirror option. But first of all, I'm going to move the box so that it's equally positioned around the origin. I need to offset the box by 96mm in both directions. So I do that by adding a value to the existing relationship. To get the top view quickly, then I use the keyboard shortcut Control and T to get the top view. The top view is the XY view. Now working on the side styles, positioning those. They need to overlap the front and back styles. Make sure that the parts are rotated and not mirrored. Now I'm going to use a copy command. So I select the part that I want to copy, position the steering wheel in a logical place, turn on the copy option in the ribbon bar, and then click on the arrow in the direction that I want to move and make the copy. It will prompt me to delete an existing relationship. So notice the two relationships I have already. I just need to add the third to fully constrain the part. And I'll repeat that for this side rail. Now those parts need an offset of 50mm from the base, so I'll just edit the relationship and add 50mm. Now there's one more part we need, and it's actually going to be mitered. So I'm going to use the frame command to model it, and each frame needs a profile, and this is going to be the profile for the part we're going to call the skirt. Okay, back to the assembly. We're going to sketch the path of the frame, which will form the skirt. So we start sketch command and choose one of the faces. As our base plane, and then I'm going to use the projector sketch command to grab some of those edges. And then the trim command to trim between those parts, those lines. Switch to the frame environment. Start a new frame. The path would be the sketch that we just created. Need to select my profile. Now the profile isn't quite in the right orientation, so click on the orientation step, turn on the control points, and when you zoom in you can see a little 3x3 grid of red dots. I need the bottom right dot selected, and that moves the frame to the right position. close the frame, and I have my skirt. I'm going to repeat that operation now for the moulding around the top of the pedestal. I need to browse for the other moulding, looking for the top moulding. Choose the sketch we just defined as the path, and you'll see that I need to rotate my profile. And also turn it inside out using the mirror. And the path point. There we go. Now we're going to go for the inside moulding using frame again. Okay, we need to generate a path first. That moulding is very difficult to see. Once I select the profile, it's much easier. So I need to flip the profile and rotate it. Next step is to put the top on the pedestal top. So that comes in two pieces. So I apply my basic mates and planar relationships. And then I mirror it across. Give me my second part. Now if I look at it from the side, I'll see that the part is not central, that there is only an overhang on one side. So I need to find out how much that overhang is. It tells me it's 14. So I need to offset that pedestal top by 7 millimeters. Not in that direction. In that one. And the reverse of that, -7. Hit save. Next job is to give it some material value or color. I want to paint the thing. I'm turning on the material column in the property manager for the assembly, and I'm going to move that material column along so I can see it in the window. And then I'm going to choose a material. I'll go with just plain wood mahogany, an existing material to start with, and then I can copy it using Ctrl-C and Ctrl-V to all the other parts. You see that all the parts apart from the frames have updated with the new material. A quick close and reopen will update those frames with the new material. Now I want to actually give it a different color, as if I've painted it white. So I'm going to go to my material table and make a copy of the existing wood mahogany material. And rename it. I just need to update the face style for that material now. I'll copy that new material to the other parts. A quick close and open, and all the parts update with a new color. There we go, a fairly straightforward modeling exercise. We did some sketching, extruding, framing and property commands. We did some menu customization and practiced using mirror pattern command. If you have any questions, please comment below and I'll answer them or tell you where you can find the answer. Hope you got something useful from this video. Have a go at making some changes to the model, see what happens. Make sure to subscribe to the MazCAD channel. I'm Maz. See you next time.